It's National Brownie Day. The Russian-American philosopher Ayn Rand said, "Doctors are not servants of their patients. They are traders like everyone else in a free society, and they should bear that title proudly, considering the crucial importance of the services they offer." If you support what we're doing here at the Conservative American Message, please show us your support by giving us a 5-star rating and by following or subscribing wherever you listen. To stay up to date on everything we're doing, please follow us on social media at the Conservative American Message on Instagram and Facebook. In a congressional hearing last week, there was testimony given related to the first assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Testifying on the event was current interim Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe, who was the deputy director at the time of the attempted assassination. He got into a heated exchange with Republican Representative Pat Fallon when he was questioned about a 9/11 memorial event in New York. Representative Fallon was asking him about the comparison and protection levels between President Trump and President Biden. Instead of answering these questions, he tried to play the game of using 9/11, talking about his involvement on September 11, 2001. When the congressman was displeased by his dodging of the question, Rowe tried to accuse him of politicizing 9/11 like he just did. Go ahead and listen for yourselves.
So I got another question for you. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Is that the remembrance of September 11th?
It was.
Was it in New York?
It was at Ground Zero.
Okay. Who is usually at an event like this closest to the President of the United States? Security-wise.
The SAC of the detail.
Special agent in charge of the detail. Were you the special agent in charge of the detail that day?
Actually, let me address this. Could you please, staff, leave that? Oh, no, leave that one up with the circle around me. Thank you. So actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the SAC of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
Were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret
That's
Service
a bunch of
member
horse hockey.
that died on 9/11.
You were trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
You are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question, please.
You are out of line, Congressman.
Don't try to bully me. I'm an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you are
I am a public servant who has served this nation, and
You won't
spent
answer
time
the question.
on our day, on our country's darkest
Mr.
day.
Chairman,
Do
you will not
not politicize it.
Committee will come to order. I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that
No, I
day?
wasn't. I was there representing
Mr.
the
Chairman,
United
I'm
States
just
Secret
asking you yes or
Service,
no.
sir.
Mr. Fallon, your time's
It did not
expired.
affect protective
You know
operations.
why you were there? Because you wanted to be visible, because you were auditioning for this
I was
job.
there to pay
You're not
respect
gonna
for a
get
fallen
the
member of
January
this
20th.
agency.
You endangered
You are
President
out of
Mike
line,
Floyd,
Congressman.
Vice President
You are out of
Harris's
line.
life because you put those agents out of position.
Mr.
Did you have a
Chairman.
radio with
Mr.
you?
Fallon,
Did you
your
wear
time
a
has
vest? Did you have a
expired.
weapon?
Mr.
I
Chairman.
did, sir, and you are out of line.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, before things got so heated, some of the other testimony included the complete failure of the Secret Service to prevent the shooting, while simultaneously requesting that Congress nearly doubles the Secret Service budget. Rowe was also questioned on why he took well over a week to visit the Butler site and his lack of response entirely to the incident as the deputy director. Similar questions led to then Director Kimberly Cheadle resigning after her complete incompetence was uncovered in similar hearings. Unfortunately, we will never know the real truth behind the Trump assassination attempt, just like we have never found out the truth about JFK. If a president getting shot doesn't enrage the American people, why would a citizen getting shot do anything different? Brian Thompson is the health insurance executive who was shot dead in New York this week. It can only be assumed that his killing was related to his role as CEO of United Healthcare. The words deny, defend, and depose were engraved on the shell casings found at the scene. As of this recording, the gunman has still not been found, but it was likely some disgruntled customer of United Healthcare that could have had some claim denied for him or his family. First of all, this shooting is a tragedy. Any murder is a tragedy, but being killed because someone doesn't like your job is incredibly sad. But there's many people who actually think that this was a good thing, and they're celebrating the killer as a hero. I mean, all CEOs are evil, right? Even the less dramatic version, most people I talk to seem to think that this guy had a personal vendetta against the company, and they at least somewhat sympathize with the killer, saying that they might have done the same thing. I have to say that my sympathy is completely lost. I don't care how badly you feel you've been wronged, that does not justify killing. Of course, until the shooter is caught, we won't know the actual motive. But just this response to the killing is absolutely sickening. There is such a deep-rooted belief among people of all political leanings that rich people are evil and CEOs deserve to die in the street, apparently. Especially if they're a CEO of those big, evil health insurance companies. What a twisted way of thinking. I am disgusted by a Democrat who feels that way, but even conservatives are taking the side of the shooter. First of all, Brian Thompson, who is an Iowa native actually, was in charge of a Minnesota-based company that is one of the largest providers of Medicaid in the United States. They actually pulled out of providing Medicaid in Iowa in 2019 due to lack of state funds not allowing them to provide what they deemed as quality care. The first time that this guy even made headlines was when he announced last year that the company was going to shift its focus to force doctors to keep people healthy rather than just treating their symptoms, which is exactly the kind of reform that we would like to see in the healthcare industry. He was a devoted advocate for disabled people and even a co-chair of the Special Olympics. But as a C-level executive, his position came with the $10 million salary, so he's a bad guy. He also increased the company's profits by billions under his tenure. Some of these accomplishments might spark criticism, but if you think that a health insurance company increasing its profit is a bad thing, you're an absolute idiot. United Healthcare is a publicly traded company, for one. I am invested in funds that own shares of this company, and many of you are as well, whether you know it or not. A CEO's job is nothing to scoff at. If you think you could do so well, I would just love to see you try that. Most of you wouldn't last a week in their position without getting fired. Their compensation is based solely on the value they provide to shareholders, which is exactly as it all should be. In this country, we have a private healthcare system. If you want to argue about the merits of universal healthcare, you can. You're wrong, but I understand your point at least. The problem is that while private companies might deny some claims, you can always switch to another company or pay medical costs out of your own pocket. You have options to get the care. But in countries like Canada, you don't get the option. It's universal healthcare on the government's terms. Their healthcare, while equal, is not very good at all, and the wealthy people of Canada come to the Mayo Clinic in the United States and just pay cash for their quality care. I'll be honest, medical care is expensive, but why shouldn't it be? How do you put a price on life-saving care? Certainly it's worth more than $0. And don't the medical professionals deserve it? The amount of knowledge, skill, and education that doctors and even nurses have to possess is staggering. Should they not be compensated for their hard work? Private health insurance allows us to opt in to essentially a cost-sharing program with others to lessen the burden of massive costs. There's no good way around it. If you want quality care, you have to pay for quality, whether it be in deductibles or premiums or whatever. You are not entitled to medical care for free. Someone else's labor is not your right. If more Americans were smart enough to actually evaluate their own insurance needs, they could probably save tons of money every year. But by blindly following along and paying the most premiums possible without even reading what you signed up for is nobody's fault but your own. You're an adult, start acting like one. An insurance company is a for-profit business, and the only reason that they're even able to provide any coverage at all is due to the risk taken of being a shareholder in that company. Listen, there are certainly some things that could be improved upon in our healthcare system. For instance, the regulatory capture that the insurance companies have is a real problem. But that's every industry in this country, and precisely the reason people elected Donald Trump to shake up these regulatory bodies and reestablish true capitalism and competition in this country. But bottom line, if you celebrate the death of a man who is providing a real valuable service to millions of Americans, if you even sympathize at all with his killer, you are not somebody I want to be around. Killing someone over a denied insurance claim is wrong, no matter how you cut it. But that's all I have time for. Were you offended by this podcast? Good. Thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate you all. Have a great week and stay conservative.